Hi, everyone. I am Nicole, and I work to tell our student stories here at Penn Foster. Today, I'm speaking with Angelica Mosqueda, who graduated from our Penn Foster High School program with an early college pathways course. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. So I know a little bit about your background because I read your submission form, but can you fill in our viewers and our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Well, I started off at regular public school here in San Antonio, Texas, and I was a student at Sydney Lanier High School. But and I enjoyed it, but after I was going into my second semester of the year as a freshman, and my mom got sick. She had been sick for a while, so she had gotten sick that Thanksgiving of 2013. And unfortunately she passed away in 2014 at the start of the year on January 6th. So it got harder for me, and I just missed a lot of school. I do have health problems with my joints, but so I was just missing a lot of school, and I started bouncing from school to school. I went from one school to another, and I couldn't really find a place to settle down, and it just got harder for me and my family. So what I did was I actually saw a commercial, and I heard a lot of good stuff about Penn Foster. So I wanted to check it out, like get information, see what I could expect. Uh, is this the right program for me? And as I started looking into it, I told my cousin who I live with, I told her, well, let's do this. Let me check it out. So I registered and I started November 15th, 2016. I want to say it's like been about 6 years. And everybody was telling me, are you sure you want to do this? Why don't you just get your GED? And I told them, well, I want to strive for more. I don't want just an equivalency. I want to strive for more. And they were like, oh, you're going to miss out so much, like prom, homecoming. And personally, to me, I didn't really care about stuff like that. I was always the one with my nose in the books. So I,
I can relate.
yeah. So uh, I, it was hard at first. It was weird going from public school to homeschooling, and it was quite a jump. But and I went on as I went on. I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm gonna keep going with it, and I'm gonna finish this program to get my diploma. And but towards the end, I was, I mean, it's been about 7 years now, and I have been still coping with my the passing of my mother. So towards the end of my program, which was about late 2019, early 2020. So I was already like on the brink. I'm like, I can't do this. It's taking longer than I had originally hoped. I feel like giving up. So, but I had this one friend, and I've known my friend since we were about 14. We're both in our 20s now. He's like, I'm in this program right across from where you live. So I want you to come with me and check it out. And they saw me in that final stretch. They gave me the motivation to move on and continue my program. So, and this is actually really funny. It was like pre-COVID, so nothing happened. And when we hit the pandemic, I was home a lot. We were all home a lot more. So I really buckled down on the final programs I needed, on the final courses. And I remember it was May 7th, 2020, 9:30 p.m. And I can't believe I remember this. Uh, I took my final exam in music appreciation, which was the last one I needed. And at 9:30, and I remember calling my dad, and I told him, Dad, I'm gonna be a Penn Foster graduate. And we all just started crying because we never thought we'd see the light of day. So my I remember telling my cousin that I live with, my cousin Carrie. She she gave me the biggest hug, and my I called my dad. He told my grandma. He told my cousin, because I have another cousin that lives with him, and we were just like screaming. We're like, "Oh my God, it's finally happening!" And so I everything was backed up because of the pandemic. So in the middle of July, I actually got my diploma. and it was it was something I had been striving for so long. It took me 5 years to do this, and I never thought I would get it done. I was already giving up on myself. After losing my mom, I was pushing everyone away. So I was sheltered. I didn't know what to do. I was lost. And so getting that diploma was the pinnacle of everything I had been working for. And
That's
everybody and people were like, "Oh, just give up already. You're taking too long." And I kept pushing myself because I didn't want to let others down. I don't like to let those other people around me down. I didn't want to seem like a disappointment or anything like that.
Well, I think
So,
most importantly, you didn't let yourself down. And, I think everybody who's listening and watching is going to be really proud of you. And everybody here at Penn Foster is really proud of you. I certainly was when I read your story. It's really, really inspirational. It's just, it's really remarkable. You've gone through a lot, yet, you persevered and you pushed yourself through. Um, yeah, I know you mentioned that you had a little bit of trouble, transitioning from public school into an online learning system.
right.
What were some of those difficulties you faced? What were some of
Well,
the parts of transitioning and how did you overcome that?
overcoming that, when it came to overcoming it, like I said, it was difficult at first because I was used to being around other students. I was used to having a teacher right there. And so transitioning to online where you talk to your teachers over the phone or where you just work on it by yourself, it was kind of new to me. But at the same time, I didn't really have like a big group of friends or anything. And I wasn't really like friendly with some of the teachers. So I was kind of used to being on my own at that point because I even growing up I even hated working in groups. I didn't like working with partners. I didn't like working in groups. I liked getting my work done. So so I I was kind of familiar with it, but it was strange not to have like physical textbooks or like actually have deadlines because Penn Foster is at your own pace. So it felt weird not having a teacher breathing down your neck saying, "Okay, this is when this is done. This is when this is done."
Mhm.
So
So some students feel like, having those deadlines, I think especially if you're coming from a traditional school background, you're kind of used to that. And it's okay, I have this on this day that's due. And some of the struggles I know a lot of students face when they're transitioning into like a self-paced program is having that discipline, to get things done and do it timely and not kind of, just, oh, I'll get to it later and procrastinate.
right.
Did you face a lot of problems with that? If so, how did you work around it? Or did you kind of set up a schedule for yourself and make your own benchmarks?
At first, I did procrastinate a lot with the at the thought of not having a teacher or anything like that. But I would still like find time throughout my days to sit down, study the material, and get ready for the quizzes we have at the end of every module. So, and over time, I started developing a schedule. Like I'll work on it from this time to this time, take a break, then do a little more in the evening. So as time went on, I got used to scheduling myself. So even ending Penn Foster, when I ended, I was like, okay, I don't have to do anything anymore. What do I do? So so my over the years, I got so used to having a schedule, I didn't know what to do after graduation. So, but overcoming it was pretty easy because I had the help of the Penn Foster administrators, and they would tell me, okay, you can do this, or you can work on this, like they would explain me how they would help me get. And I was also a student ambassador with Penn Foster, so I also had, how can I say it, the I had the help, I guess you could say, from other students that I worked with on the as a student ambassador. I had the support of the administrators. So when it came to overcoming it, I knew I could do it because they would give me that guidance and they would give me the help I needed. So overcoming it, I knew I wasn't by myself.
That's kind of the good thing about it is that, not having those necessarily like those set deadlines or anything like that, even though it was
Right.
hard to work around somebody else's schedule, you could still do that with the program rather than, this is set in stone. You have to do it at this time.
Right. like they would give you like guidelines, but deadlines, it was completely up to you. You set your own pace. I remember when I was registering for Penn Foster, they had like the extended plan, they had accelerated, which was what I did. And so setting your own plan, that was like a relief to me because I didn't have to worry like, am I gonna finish this on time? Is there gonna be a late charge? What's gonna happen? And
Mhm.
and so I was like, what's gonna happen? And then finding out that I had the ability to change around my schedule, it was a lot of pressure off my shoulders. And so it was just so funny. It was just it was the best thing ever. Honestly, that's what I liked about Penn Foster was that I didn't have to worry about a set schedule. I could work around whatever was going on in my personal life.
Oh, that's great. And speaking of the program you chose, so you did the early college pathway. What
Yes.
led you to choose that particular program?
Well, when I was looking for programs, I knew there was something I wanted to do with my future, like after I graduate, and I knew I wanted to go to college. I had been dreaming of going to college since I was little. So, uh, when my mom died, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. But when I found out when I was going through programs with Penn Foster, I saw that they had an early colleges program that could help you prepare to go to college. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. They have some early college courses. Maybe it'll prepare me for what I choose to do with my diploma, like whether I go to college or what. It'll give me that skill set. So I chose, and I was going through the electives. I'm like, this looks like it'd be perfect for me. So I chose and it's so funny because when I was choosing my electives, I really didn't know what I was going into. Like I didn't know what I wanted for my career
Mhm.
choice. So when I chose general psychology as one of my electives, essentials of psychology, and it was so funny because now I'm a student at San Antonio College, and one of my courses I'll be taking next semester is general psychology
Oh,
because I
great. So you've
majored.
got a little head start.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I'm not nervous. I got this. Because now, as a college student, I'm studying human services with a specialization in substance abuse prevention. Because I've seen what substance abuse does to people, and I've witnessed it firsthand. Personally, I've never delved into drugs or anything because I've seen how it hurts people. So I want to do the best I can to help somebody with that. Like if they're struggling, I want to be that person they can grab my hand and say, I'm gonna be here for you and all that. So when it came down to it, choosing early college, because I was like, I do want to go to college. I do want to make my mom proud. And after graduating, I'm actually a first generation high school graduate. Neither of my parents graduated, and I'm a first generation college student. So I'm the first.
Congratulations. That's a really big deal.
Hmm. I know, and it's because I don't have any siblings, and my I was all my parents had. So I'm a first generation high school graduate, and I'm a first generation college student. So it's a big deal for me because I'm carving the pathway for future generations of our family. And it's not just me; it's my cousins. That I have a cousin also going to San Antonio College, and and she used to get picked on a lot, but I'm so proud of what she's doing. I mean, she didn't go to Penn Foster or anything. She stuck with a traditional school. She went to Southwest Prep. But I am so proud of her. And she's only a couple of years younger than me, and I'm so proud of her because she's proving people wrong just the way I did. And I told her, well, if you have any problems, just come to me because I'll help you. But no, she doesn't even need my help. She's amazing.
Oh, that's great. Well, she's got a good role model. So, maybe she doesn't need your actual help, but your example, I think, probably
Right.
was a big help. And thank you for the field in which you're choosing to go into. Because like you said, might not be an experience you as an individual personally have, but it's definitely an experience that I think everyone has some sort of relation to. It's big problem, especially in this country. And I think I don't know anyone who doesn't have some sort of relation or friend or somebody who has struggled with substance use and those disorders. So, you know, it's really important that we have genuine people who really want to help fix the problem and solve, you know, the root problems behind that. So thank you.
It's the least I can do just to make the world a better place, because seeing people struggle and thinking you're lucky that you didn't personally go through that, but yet there's people that still suffer with it, and there's teenagers, adults, and you see it and you're like, why? What's the root of all this? There's got to be a way to fix it. So, and again, I personally do know somebody that's on that pathway, and he's not that much older than me. He's only a couple of months older than me. And unfortunately, he is a relative of mine. And I so wholeheartedly wanted to help him. But the only problem with that is you can't help somebody that doesn't want the help.
Mhm.
If they want to continue on that pathway, it's their choice. You can't force somebody to get that help, no matter how much you want it. But there are people out there that want the help. They need the help, but they're too afraid to ask. But that doesn't mean they don't go looking for the help they need.
Exactly, definitely. And when they have a good source, when they look and that they find that source, that can make all the difference, I think, for not just that individual, but their families, their friends, anybody, you know, really within their community. So again, thank you. So I know you briefly touched on this, but just wanted to go back to it because it was really nice. But how did you feel when you completed your program? I know you said, you know, you finished that last course, that music appreciation. So, you know, between that time and then the time when you actually physically got that diploma, what were some of the feelings you experienced? You know, how did you celebrate your achievements?
Well, I honestly, again, it was in the middle of a pandemic, so I didn't really get to celebrate.
That kind of put a damper on a lot of people's
Yeah,
celebrations,
yeah. So,
unfortunately.
uh, my dad and I were still planning on celebrating because
Good
it's a
for
big
you.
accomplishment. It's a big accomplishment, and now we have the time to. But so, and we have the ability to, because
Mhm.
a lot of the restrictions were lifted, so we could go out to eat more. We don't have to worry about like constantly being on lockdown when we had the empty store shelves. Uh, so we don't have to worry about that. But again, it's still better safe than sorry. So we are working on having a little get together at a local restaurant. So we're slowly getting on that train. But the day I finished the program, I felt like the world stood still for me, because again, it's something I only dreamed of when I accomplished that. Because I even remember my final grade; it was a 98. Now that surprised me.
Fantastic.
I mean, it was in music appreciation, and I loved music. Before I left public school, I was in choir at my high school. So and I was in band in middle school. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I really liked learning about different genres of music, like everything from opera to contemporary. It was really fun. I really liked my music appreciation class. And but getting that final grade saying congratulations, you are now a graduate of Penn Foster. It's the world stood still, because it's something I've worked so hard for, and finally getting to share that news with my dad, my cousin, my grandmother, finally getting to share that news, it was something big. Because a lot of people are like, are you sure you're still doing it? Are you sure you're gonna make it? And sure enough, uh, I still have the letter that was sent out to me with my transcript. When I finally got my diploma, I cried. I can genuinely say I cried holding that folder and opening it to see uh, Penn Foster High School diploma is awarded to Angelica Mosqueda. I wanted to cry. I was just clutching it so close to me. And I just fell to my knees. I remember just falling to my knees, saying it's finally over. I can finally move on with my academic journey. having access to Penn Foster, as long as you have internet, you're basically great. Because you could do Penn Foster on your phone, you could do it on your computer, you could do it on your tablet, like I started out doing. And it's just really great to know that your school is accessible 24/7. Like, let's say you've had a long day of work, but and you could still come home and do your schoolwork and work towards your, whether it be your career school diploma, your high school diploma, or even your college degree, which I think is really great that you have all that combined. And so I'm really, at first I was like skeptical because I had tried going with like K-12, and when I found out about Penn Foster, and honestly Penn Foster, I've heard really good things about it, and there was always a commercial for it. I would always see the Penn Foster commercial play like every 5 minutes, and I would get more information from it. And then I finally decided I'm gonna look it up. When I finally got my tablet, I was gonna look it up, and I got together with my cousin, and we're like looking into it. What were the reviews? What was the success rate? Everything. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try it out. Let's see if I like it. And sure enough, I stuck with it. Finally, 2020 hit, and I finally got that diploma I worked so hard for. And when I got accepted into college like 2 weeks after applying, which was earlier this year. So
Do you
I
think
had,
your Penn Foster degree helped you,
oh
take
yeah,
next steps and get you to the point you're at now?
oh definitely. And I think it was just the good grades I had there too.
It definitely help.
Yeah.
Do you recommend Penn Foster to any of your friends or just,
Oh definitely. Oh definitely in a heartbeat. And because I did a lot with Penn Foster. Like again, I was a student ambassador. I even beta tested the career readiness program before it was available to the public. So I beta tested that, and I actually have the diploma from that too.
Oh, fantastic. What did you think about that program?
It was really good because if you're getting ready to have a career, go to a career, because they taught us about customer service and like how to interact with customers, how do you interact with your managers, how in that kind of setting, like how would you respond to these situations in a career or just even a job. So
So it's kind of
it,
skills you could apply across the board
right,
to any job, really.
right. Thanks to that program, I now have that skill set. And so it was fun because I didn't even have to, they just asked any ambassadors want to beta test this program. It's new, it's not even available to others yet. So I got to beta test the program and I loved it. And I
Oh,
actually
that's
celebrated.
fantastic.
And since I knew high school graduation would be a few years away, I got to celebrate that graduation from career school.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I still have my cap and gown from that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then once I got to graduate from high school, I got the tassel, I got the stole, which says first gen grad.
Oh,
I got my class ring from Penn Foster, and I never go anywhere without it. It's my good luck charm at this point. I'm even
I
wearing it
love
now.
that. Oh,
I'm
that's
even,
awesome. I really like that.
mhm. And I never like, it's, oh, I've only went without it once, and I was so upset that I forgot to wear it.
Uh, what advice or tips would you give to anybody who's maybe considering Penn Foster, but they're not really sure, if they want to take that next step?
My advice for somebody who's afraid to take the step is just jump, is rather than just dipping your toe in it, just jump into it because you're gonna have that support regardless. Like for me, I had people saying, "Are you sure you want to do this? Why not just quit? Just go get your GED." But you're always gonna have that support system, whether it be classmates, whether it be administration. You're gonna have that support system, and I just say go for it because you're gonna. It, it honestly depends on a person's will to go on because if it's their will, they'll say, well, I can do this. They have that drive to go on. They have the sense to push forward regardless of what anybody says. And it's up to that person whether they want to do it or not. If they're scared, well, you can be scared, and you can always dip your toe in, see how you like it. The way I did it, because I was nervous. I was nervous to start homeschooling from going to a public setting to this, and I dipped my toe in, and then eventually I finally jumped in. I was comfortable with it. I had the support from other classmates, like student ambassadors or groups in the community, because Penn Foster does have that Penn Foster community. And I felt comfortable because I knew what to do, I knew what to expect. But my advice is just don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because you're never gonna and trust me, you won't regret that decision. I don't regret going with Penn Foster at all. I I look back on it, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? But I honestly have no regrets. I got my diploma. I'm going to college because Penn Foster has those skill sets for you. Whether you choose culinary, early college, even auto repair. If you want that skill set, just go for it. And it's not even just with high school. You could go with career school. You could go with college, and you have those resources for you. So again, my advice would be just don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and just and you carve your path. Nobody else carves it for you. They can try, but that doesn't mean you can go with it, because again, I've had family members that are like, no, you can't do this. Well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? But it's not up to them. It's up to you. You as the person going to this, it's not it's all your decision. You make your choices. Nobody else makes them for you, and never ever let anybody tell you otherwise. That's
Oh, well, thank you so much, Angelica. I think your words are really beautiful and inspiring, and I think that that's great advice for anybody who's kind of on the fence, or even if they're already in the middle of it and they're kind of struggling. That's a really great piece of advice from somebody who has experienced it. So thank you.
no problem.